if you can remember, like what we are doing in our process is instead of training with the whole data, what we are doing is like we are making it into two parts and saying that like 80% of data like we'll be training, and then we'll use 20% of the data for testing, right? So we'll treat this as a completely unknown to the model, and we'll be using this part what we expose it the for training, uh, and like we'll calculate the performance on the data which is not seen to the training, right? So that we call it like test data. So let so we take it for rank. We instead of taking like first 80 rows as in case suppose if you have 100 rows, if you, instead of taking like first 100 rows as training and next 20 rows as testing, what we do is like we'll randomly select. Uh, we'll randomly select so instead, like we'll be randomly selecting samples from the available data, such that like 80% falls under training and the remaining 20% falls under testing. Okay, so such that like our idea is mainly, let us say this is the distribution of our training data. If you randomly pick some points, let us say I randomly drawn some points here. Okay, so what will happen is your training data, if you connect those dots, okay, will also be similar to your training data. And if you take the remaining portions, okay, let me draw this one. So that will also, if you take, it will also be similar. Okay. Actually, this is number of, we draw this representation for data, right? What actually is this number of data points in that particular level, right? So within 10, there are like few data points, like with maybe 5. And within 20, there are some 100 data points. Within there are 50, let's say. And then in 30, there are like some 75. And more than 40, there are some 20. Okay. So even if you randomly select in your distribution as well, like you'll be getting almost similar range. Like the numbers won't be same, but ratios would be almost similar. Like you'll be getting somewhere like maybe instead of 25, you'll be getting some 10. This will be 20. This will be 30 or something like that. Like the ratio will be similar to how it is here. So that's what we are. If you do randomly, actually like, this is this. Like we are actually representing the top portion of it, like that is this distribution. So if you use that, like actually if you select randomly, even your data set will be similar. Okay, so okay, this is fine, like this part is clear to us, let us say. So but we may get a doubt that maybe our test set is somewhat we are lucky and we got very much simple examples in our test set, and we are able to get better accuracy, but still you will be having some doubt inside that maybe this is only good for the test set, and for some new values maybe it doesn't work well. So this kind of doubt may be there, right? So let me tell you one example. So if you take like very simple like bikes and cars example, okay, so let me take that bikes and so in bikes and cars example, we may have like maybe we have selected like randomly again, like few 80% of data in training and 20% in testing. And so maybe that particular split what we have taken, right? So maybe it is like very good, and then finally we may got very simple examples on tested. Usually, if it is random picking, like it won't. Usually, it won't be like that. But still, maybe chances are there, right? Like sometimes if you randomly pick maybe very easy examples, you may get, and finally you are able to predict very good accuracy or something like this. So in a classification, let's say this is like this. This is your class. Okay. So these like which are nearer to your line are actually tough examples, right? So, and what are fairer are easy examples, let us say. So in this case, so this will be easy to classify, this will be easy to classify, which is coming very nearer. Okay. So which is very similar. There is more similarity between these and these. These are very tough to classify comparatively. Let us assume that. So in that case, if your test set contains some data here and some data here, so these are very easily classifiable and your accuracy will be very nice. Accuracy of your classification or maybe precision recall, even if you take that your on your test set, it may be very good. Okay, but you should also see somewhere here like if it is performing well or not, right? So this is also a case. So maybe the other way is also possible. Like what you got is like uh, you have something like this and sorry and more zeros here. So maybe you got like there will be some misclassification, right? Like there will be zeros and it is misclassified, and there will be some crosses on the other side as well. So such thing occurred here, and your train test split actually has only these values, maybe. Okay, more of these values. So what can happen is in that case you may say like accuracy is very bad. This model is not performing at all, but in reality it is not like that. Okay. So, yeah, this is one more case. So, what you should be having is mostly randomly picking should solve the matter, because like one will be here, one will be here, one will be here, like that it will pick randomly. So, mostly it won't come in one single region. So, even though if it comes, I'm going to discuss about like something now, like which we can counter that kind of issue. Okay. So, and one more thing I also want to discuss, bring up on is like, let's say you have one train test split. Okay. So you have made one training and then you have one test split. And what you did, you trained the model for like maybe some 10 iterations and then check performance on test bed. Okay, then you felt like it is not good. Then you trained it for same model for 100 iterations and you check like how is the performance. Similarly, for 1000 iterations, when you check, maybe this time it is very good. Okay, then what you do is like if you won't go for further, right? Like here you may feel like you got acceptable accuracy, maybe you will stop. Or maybe if it is like more than that, maybe it is overfitting, then you will stop it. Okay, so at that moment, like what you do is you will select the model which is trained on like 100 iterations, 1000 iterations, and you will say that this is the best model, use it for production. Maybe you will say that, right? This is what will things like if you have split train. So what actually you are doing is you are indirectly you are optimizing your model on this test data, right? So maybe if it is on training, the loss function, it actually optimizes on the loss what you get from train, but you are manually checking for test every time, and then finally what you are doing is you are selecting the best model out of these. Okay, so indirectly you are making it to see the performance of test model and then do some manipulation to the model. In this case you are manipulating in number of iterations. Okay, so this is one case, and finally you are actually optimizing on test model itself but manually, but still like it is similar to optimization, right? But we don't want anything in the test data to be shown, anything in the test data to be shown to the model, right? But and means like it should not get impacted at all from the test data, right? But what we are trying to do here is like we are actually optimizing on our, we are like instead here in this case it is manually we are optimizing the model based on the test set, right? Based on the performance on test set. So, but this is not recommended. Uh, so, then what is the case like? Because this can't be avoidable, right? We have to see. We can't just put like 10 iterations and see what is the model and then deploy that directly. So we actually have to compare on different kinds of iterations, right? So and similarly, maybe you have if not iterations, I can give you one more example where you have a model with complexity as like some uh, 10 pieces. Okay, so then you trained the model. Similarly, you saw and tested like how is that performance. Okay, and you saw this, then what you think is like maybe here it's not it's underfitting, and then what you find is like you increase this 10 features to 100 features, and then train again and see what is the performance on test. So similarly, you will do the same thing, right? Like that is how we should be doing. So, but in this case, we are optimizing on test set as well. So to avoid this scenario, what we do is we will have one more split. So previously we have this test and train, let us say. So again in this train, what we do is we will have one more split. We call it validation. This is train. Okay. So now it can be like 60, 20, 20. This, so if you have 100 example earlier, like we use 20, and this stretch is like 80, right? So now what we do is again within this, we'll do one more split saying that like 60, this is 20 out of this 80. So in this case, like what we will be doing is, so what is this validation split? So what this extra thing is, so what we'll be doing. So in this case, in case of validation split, so in the it's the same process. Like what we are trying to do is like just avoid this text and for comparison. So let's say you have a model complexity. Let's take the same example. Complexity is 10 features. So what you do is you train on this model with the train data, and then there is this two things right now. Like instead of validation, we have you do the take the validation split, and on this you check the performance how it is. Okay, if it is not good, then what you do is you increase the features. I increase the features to 100, then train again. Now check the performance. Okay, so and similarly, like maybe increase to 1000 or 500 features, then check the performance again. So and you take the best model. Maybe this one is the best model, and here it is underfitting. This is overfitting. Maybe in that is the case, and you take this as best model. Okay. So till this point, we are not touching this test set at all. So all this case, we won't be doing like any automation on test set. So finally, you consider like what is the best model which is ready for deployment, and what you do is this test you. But we need to give the performance, right? Like how accurate your model is and all. So that time you take this test set. Taking this test set, what you do is like you take this test set. So what we do is instead of we have this validation split, right? So and again, what we do like we are actually randomly selecting some examples again within the 80% of the data here as like validation split, right? So instead of doing that, there are like various techniques which can be followed to select the training and validation split. Okay, let's discuss about that. So one of them is like let me go here, call it like test bit, and this is this 20%, let us say, this is 80%. So out of this, so we think that like some part randomly selected is like training data, and like some 20% of the data again like would be validation split. But actually, instead of doing it like this k-fold split like proposes a mechanism. What there, what we'll be doing is like instead of taking a random split one. So if, for example, this k fold actually is like k is a number over there. So let's take like k equal to 5. So which means like we have to make it into k folds, like 5 folds over there. So let me do a split here, 5 folds. So out of which your data is like this is a complete data which should be used for both training and validation, right? So out of this data, if you take like 5-fold, for example, so 4 folds will be training and like 1 fold will be testing. So take this as like training and this as like for validation. Sorry. So similarly, we also have other folds where what we'll be doing is, so similarly, let me make like other scripts as well. Okay, and okay, this time what will happen is like your validation script will be like previously it is like fifth part is like taken as validation. Now fourth part will be validation and like fifth one will be training. So similarly like four. Now this time this will be validation. Validation training, etc. So let's say like this is now this split is used for training and in let's take the first scenario where we have like taken like first four as per training and like last as a validation and you report some accuracy on it. Similarly you do for again like second, third, fourth and fifth models. Like okay, like so here the training data is different and validation data is different across all these 5 types, right? So you have like 5 different models here. So what we have is all these 5 uh, different splits of data will give you different models. Okay, so what we do is we'll take the best model out of these 5. We take the best model out of these 5 which has like better validation accuracy, like which have like better performance on this validation checks here. So we take that particular model as the best model. And what we also have is in case if it is a new data, we can actually get some sense out of this data that your error will be within this range and all. Okay, so let's go into that part. So what we do is, let's say the accuracy of these 5 are with let me say this, like maybe we got like for the first split we got like 75, second split we have like 89, and third split we have like okay 80, and the fourth split we have uh, okay something like 85, and the fifth split we have something like 90. Okay, so this is actual way, right? So we have reported accuracies on each of the data, and we got these values. Okay, so then what we'll be doing is let me try to plot an histogram on this. Okay, so 75. So let me call it like 70, 80, 90. So you have one value in 70s. Okay, so let Okay, so let us say that you have one value in like the 70s, and in 80s you have 3 values. Okay? And similarly within 90 you have one value. So this is your like if you plot a distribution on the accuracies what you got, you actually have got a curve. Okay, let me draw a kind of a continuous curve, like that is a density plot over on this on top of this. So you actually got some value like this. Okay, something like this. So from this, what you can say is like you can calculate mean, median, and all, right? Median, mode, mean. So you can calculate all these three on top of this, right? So from that, what we can get is like maximum your average accuracy is something like what to calculate mean out of this. Okay, so that will be your average accuracy, and similarly your range of your accuracies, it may vary between 75 to 90. and there is a lot of variance, right? So it may be inconsistent. So that is what we found it from this. So it can vary like 75% to 90%. There is a very big variation. So that we can find out from this. Okay. So this variance should not be much more. Actually, what is the ideal way is, so not ideal. Let me talk about near to ideal case. Ideal, it like all should be same. So near to ideal is maybe this is 80, this is 81, this is 78, 79, 80.5, something like this. So here the difference between each of them is not much, okay, like it is very less. So your standard deviation will be very low. But here, if you take, your standard deviation is very high. So you will think that this, we can conclude that this model is very inconsistent, like varying so much. So we have to try some different approach over here. So then what you do is like, but in this case, your accuracies are not varying much. Like we can roughly say like it is having like 80% accuracy always, right? So because your standard deviation is very low, it is not varying more than like 0.5% max, 0.5 to 1% maybe. So here we can say that like our model will more or less give like 80% accuracy. When you can think about it in test data as well or new data as well. So we may get like something around like 80% accuracy, right? So that is one advantage what you get like when you do a kind of a k-fold split, where you can compare across like different kinds of training and test validation data and finally get your range of accuracies. And from this, you can actually predict like how your accuracy will be for a new set of data, right? So maybe your test accuracy again, anyway, you finally while deploying model, you will also mention the test accuracy, which was the completely unseen data for the model. So that is how it is done. Okay. So this is the same case. We use it for regression as well and classification as well. Okay. So even for every like model, what you do, right? Like maybe higher complex model or low complex model, simpler model as well. You report your validation accuracy, like mean and standard deviation of your validation accuracies, and like we also report on test accuracy, right? So now let me go to like how it can be show in scikit-learn how it is being implemented. So just a moment. And what we do is like we call this kind of approach as cross validation. So like there are various kinds of cross validation which has been implemented here. Like one is this k-fold also has different variants. One is like the stratified k-fold, group k-fold, and repeated k-fold. So we can look into each of them, but all will be similar. It will be easily understandable. Let me go inside. And actually, you don't have to do it off your own. So you just have to import like scikit-learn dot like model selection import stratified k-fold, and this will automatically do the split like however you want. And then if this implementation is available in like scikit-learn, what we should be doing is from scikit-learn sklearn dot like model selection import stratified k-field. So just like stratified k-fold, we also have a group k-fold and also repeated k-fold, which is like slightly different variants of k-fold. So what we should be doing is, so once it is implemented, you have to mention like number of splits here, and which is like k value over there. So if you do that, then automatically like, we'll get like such splits here. And if you can see this implementation, this skf dot split x comma y, where x comma y is our input x and output where target variable here. So if you give this, it has been already configured for two splits. So what it will do is it will run for two iterations. So if you can see here, you can give like five splits. Our example is actually for five splits, which we discussed earlier, like that is for five splits. So what it runs is this loop will run for 5 times with like the splits being this train and test like one at a time. Okay. So this is about the implementation part. Let me So let's see like how this system. So this process, entire process is called like cross validation. So in that, like we have discussed on this like k-fold cross validation. So similarly, there are many other different variants of it, which you can look at this Wikipedia on this, and then you can learn more about it. But this is the same thing, like mostly it will be same thing. Like you can see this diagram here, like part of it is taken as like test data, actually it is validation data, and in another case, like in the second iteration, like some more part, and then this is all like we have discussed, right? So it is same as that. So yeah, you can see animation on top of it, like model one and second time model two. And I think mostly this is how it is done. Like you can also take set of this, like, instead of make it keep it like tenfold, and like take two at a time or three at a time as your cross validation data, and like that is also a way which you can do. So you can see this animation over here. So it is done in that way. Similarly, holdout, anyway we use holdout as well, right? So yeah, this is one thing, like nothing else to discuss on this. So that's about it for this topic.